where reality comes to play, the Perception Theory podcast, triggering the woke little snowflakes in 3, 2, 1.
How dare you disrespect me, your country, and your mama?
Get ready to have some reason and common sense hammered into your pathetically thick skulls. Here are Evil Ed and Uncle Reap, your hosts for the Perception Theory podcast.
Well,
hello, everyone.
how's it going?
Oh, that was awesome. Love that intro.
That's our that is our new intro for 2025.
Love it.
And you know what? I think because some people might show up a little bit late, I think we'll show it again at the end of the show.
I like
Then
it.
we'll show the outro.
I like it.
Hey,
Mega
Mega Dog.
What's going on, man?
Then we'll show the outro. And
Okay.
Then, there we go.
I like it.
So people can
Check it
see
out.
the new intro.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you guys hanging out with us in 2025. This is our first one, right?
I think it is.
I think this is our first of 2025.
I think it is.
But don't get your expectations up because it's still gonna suck as bad as our show in 2024.
Yeah, we're still early yet, so give it time.
Yeah, it's absolutely. So yeah, thanks for joining us. And like I said, we're going to just do a little plug real quick. Let's lock down. Hold on. So this Wednesday, are we doing this Wednesday or next Wednesday? It's kind of funky because
Yeah, you said Wednesdays are like the hot button.
it's the hot button. Maybe we'll check that out just to do it because would be kind of cool if you did it on the weekend, but I don't think the weekend is as popular.
Okay.
And that's kind of the problem. Anyway, yeah, you know what? Let me just double check real quick because this podcast we're gonna record it after this show. It's not gonna be live like we said before, and but the best time to release it is what we really need to identify. Best time to release a podcast episode. Let's see what it says. Searching. Consider your audience, blah, 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 blah. Release frequency, blah, blah, blah. Some recommend releasing episodes early in the morning between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So I guess we could do it on Thursday.
Yeah, I could do that.
Midweek releases can be challenging, so you might want to consider comedy podcasts. It tells you. Fridays can be a good day for comedy podcast entertainment. Weekends, downloads tend to drop considerably. Yeah, well, maybe we'll do Thursday. I don't know. We'll
Okay.
talk about it, but
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I will put on our Discord when we're going to release it ahead of time, and then we'll release it that day each time.
I like it.
All right?
All right.
And like we said, this one right here is going to be non-political. It's going to be a lot more in the life realm, if you will. And our first episode is we're going to be discussing why men,
And our emotions and why we can't share them.
why we can't share them, at least not to the extent. And so we do have a video. It's kind of cool. It's at some. Her name is Brene Brown, and she's a psychologist, and she's done the study. And so we'll play that. We're just gonna play like a little clip of it. I think it's only like maybe a minute, 2 minutes long, but we're gonna play that at the beginning because that helps set it up, and so you can understand like what we're talking about. So not stay tuned here, but look for that. We'll put it out on Discord when we're going to do it, and check that out because it's gonna be pretty awesome. So anyway, all right, enough about that. Let's turn that on.
So this week,
anything you want to cover there, Ed? Before
no, I'm good, man.
you good?
I'm good.
All right.
So this week's topic is actually on the wildfires that are raging in L.A. So yeah, there's a lot of background on this stuff. I was completely shocked. Of course, everything you hear from the media is, shock, horror, awe, and there's a lot, of course, political stuff that goes on in the background that, of course, we'll never know.
Right.
But yeah, when you do your digging.
But, and you're going to find some stuff that there was a lot of stuff coming from one side that wasn't necessarily true, or it was misleading. That they said it was, this and that. Maybe a little bit. I think sometimes they went a little bit harsh on it. But we did the research to find out exactly what's what as far as the LA fire. So we were going to do it on. We're going to do it on like all the shootings and like or the terrorists and them driving the vehicles through. And it's my fault. I kind of switched up on Ed last minute. It's almost like we should probably do our topics maybe the Wednesday of the week. We're going to do the show because now if you think about it, if we talked about that, it's almost seems like it's old,
right?
And so I don't know. I switched up on it. It's like just because the news cycle and things move so quick, it seems like we're almost behind.
Right.
So that's why we went ahead and switched to the LA wildfires, and because, well, number one, it's in the news now, and two, there's some funky shit going on with it.
Shady shit in the background.
So we decided we would talk about that here. So yeah. And you wanna bust up?
All right. So this whole thing leads to, and of course it's all over the news, is mismanagement. The crazy thing is it's all from the top. It's not from middle management. So there's no trickle-down effect. Unfortunately, the middle management are the ones that are going to get the fingers pointed at them, and they're going to receive the blame in this one.
Which they kind of always seem to do. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Even though you'll find out, like even where I work, you'll find out that middle management will send stuff and say, hey, this is effed up. This is effed up. We got to plan this. Here's our solutions for this. And it goes unheard.
Right.
So.
Oh God, mega dog. Yeah, so apparently they caught a suspect in this one. Did you see that yet?
I did.
Yeah.
Because there was conspiracy that people said, okay, because apparently there's more than one that they said are setting fires. And then the news media came out and said, no, that's bullshit. It's better. Well,
guess what?
Fact
check. So how much money has this cost so far?
So up to now, it's cost about $50 billion with a B, $50 billion, because it's hit some of the most expensive homes in the world, except for I think they said, what was it, Palm Beach?
Yeah, it's skipping L.A. for now.
Yeah. I guess it's Palm Beach County is the most expensive. So this is, I guess, Palisades, whatever, is the second most expensive, but some of the most expensive homes in the world.
So we know that, obviously looking from the outside in, it is all focused on the state of California. But the thing of it is there's going to be a ripple effect, and that's going to be on home insurance. And you're gonna start to see a lot of areas that will not be insurable, especially with wilderness and things like that around it. So, for all of us homeowners out there, be prepared for your monthly billing to go up dramatically because of this.
And that's one of the and I guess I'm kind of spreading it, but this is a conspiracy. This is a conspiracy theory. This is all speculation. I'm not saying I subscribe to this theory, but part of the issue that people are talking about is the simple fact that, like you said, that it's going to be a big issue of insuring now, and so they're talking about the simple fact that, like we said, that this is one of the most expensive counties on the planet, and even if they were to insure it, it wouldn't be at the rate where they could actually get and rebuild all their stuff. So there's a conspiracy theory to say that that a lot of these celebrities are going to move on somewhere, and that developer is going to come in, snag the land for pennies on the dollar, and put expensive home, but not not to that expense, but like condos and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Is a land grab.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would say both. I think the conspiracy theory is it is a land grab, and they're trying to get rid of the super rich out of there, so they can get the semi-rich, but they can do because if so for instance they're saying, okay, so let's just say, I don't even know if he lives there, let's say Tom Cruise, and he's got how many acres, he's got a big ass mansion and this, that, and the other, right? And he paid, I don't know, let's just say $4 million for it, I don't even know. Well, what they're saying is, well, within the space that, say, Tom Cruise's house is in,
Right.
they could put, say, 3 or 4, say, high-rise condos in there, selling each condo for $1 to $2 million each condo.
Wow.
So they could quadruple the income in just that little amount of space.
Wow.
Now, again, that's conspiracy theory.
Now, I guess to add to that conspiracy theory, I would be curious to see how much the Chinese buy out of that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they're buying up a lot of land. I mean, I've even heard in open places.
Well, they are trying to. Well, so some of the states are actually jumping on to limit outside investment. But a lot of Chinese investors are buying like farmland.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, and so they're like block it.
Right.
So there's conspiracy theories out there, and it's just weird. I saw one picture and I didn't grab it. There was one picture where the homes, like in this one area, all the homes were just decimated, but there were trees. Like on these spots, there were trees there, still intact, not burnt. Now I saw the picture and I'm like, Now I didn't have time to verify the picture and make sure it wasn't, photoshopped, but it was attached. It was attached to a news article, and I didn't have time to get into it. But it's like,
wow.
So okay, we're gonna whack the home, or the home's burnt down. There's a bunch of trees, not like a forest, but it's like trees around. So it's like, okay, well, we could put a high rise right in the middle of this where that mansion was, because that mansion, was huge footprint.
Sure. Huh.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know. We'll let you guys decide, or let you guys determine what you think. But
yeah,
that's
crazy.
It's some funky shit, dude.
That's crazy. Well, the other thing is Musk actually put out something. I saw it on YouTube, and basically what he was saying is that there is a big reason why SpaceX and Musk moved out of LA, which I have that. We'll get into that later on. But it's crazy because he was actually saying something to Newsom about the fact that, why aren't you doing the controlled burns to break that up a little bit? And then the other thing he was saying too is that there is a lot of foliage that is around these homes, and why can't we just get rid of it? So one of the things that Newsom was stating is that apparently there is a fish species that, if they did that, would actually put them into extinction.
Yeah, it's called the smelt.
Yeah, the smelting fish.
Yeah, it just there's a whole lot of shit we're gonna get into, but we're talking about a lot of mismanagement. So what did you come up with as far as some of the mismanagement, like before and during, that they've had, or that they've they've discovered, I should say?
Right. Well, one of the biggest things was budget cuts. So apparently in 2024 to 2025, California state budget, which Governor Gavin Newsom signed into the law in June of 2024, slashed funding for wildfire and forest resilience by $101 million as a part of a series of cutbacks, according to an analyst by the state's legislative analyst office. So, again, going in with what Musk was saying, I mean, they're taking away, but they're not putting back to it. Now, apparently that money was allocated to a different department,
Right.
but not to the one that it should have been, which is pretty crazy.
So I find funny that so you would think that, well, if it was known, let's just say that, because you're talking about wildfire and forest resilience,
Right.
you would think the, not the economists, the environmentalists would go off on him for cutting some of at least the forest resilience money out.
Right.
Wouldn't you think?
Right.
Something smells and it ain't the smelt.
Ooh. Megadog. He's
So
on a
you-
roll.
So you would think if that came, or if that was known, you would think the environmentalists would be all over his
Oh,
ass.
absolutely.
Or the conservationists, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I guess both.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. And then you have the state laws and regulations. The one thing, again, coming from Musk is they can't create fire breaks, which would be that controlled burning. And then the other thing, again, coming from him was the cannot remove brush from around homes and communities. So I guess, everybody wants the white picket fence around a, 50,000 square foot mansion, but they're not willing to get rid of the foliage and everything around, which I can get. People use it for privacy, but still.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I understand. And to springboard off that, as far as L.A. County itself, L.A. County, they reduced the fire department by $17.6 million between the 24-25 fiscal year and the 23-24 fiscal year, and also included a $7 million reduction in overtime hours. And these overtime hours were to fight when they had like these wildfires and whatever else. Prepare for, train, and respond to large-scale emergencies, and it affected their capacity for brush clearance, inspections, and residential inspections. And part of the issue that they're having that they're saying some of the big issue with the wildfires is underbrush, dead trees, and other contributing factors. Not so much maybe even the neighborhoods, but there's still woods that surround these homes.
Right.
So the underbrush, dead trees, and other contributing factors, the state fire officials were using to help prevent forest and brush fires were not performed or permitted in the last couple years. So everything that could contribute. So let's just say we don't have anybody starting the fires.
Right.
Let's say it was a lightning strike or just dry brush or whatever, but the fact that you're not clearing all that shit out, that's just like basically just having a
you're
couple
waiting
things
for
of
it.
gasoline sitting there, basically.
Yeah, you're just waiting for it. Grab the s'mores and get them melting away. Yeah, I don't know. So ironically, there's a lot of questions that have been raised as far as the need to expand the water storage in neighborhoods to contend with larger and more intense wildfires. As experts point out, the current water systems are not designed for such scenarios. So you live in one of the most densely populated areas in the United States, next to big cities and things like that, and it's like, do we not plan for this stuff, or is it just the government, or I'm sorry, is it just California that this is never going to happen to us?
I don't know where they've been for the past 10, 12 years or whatever, then because you have these brush fires. And it's funny is like you talk about the climate change and all this other bullshit. Well, when you look at what they're doing with water conservation or lack thereof, because they're letting the runoff go right into the ocean because of the smelt and some of this other bullshit.
Right.
Well, it's not so much in freaking climate change as it is about them not conserving the water.
Right.
Now, there's talks about, because they had an interview with Trump, and Trump's like, he says, he put in this bill, whatever, to optimize water delivery for California. And he signed it in February 2020, and everybody's like, no, that's bullshit. We looked it up, and in the Department of Interior, we'll put. I'm still waiting for my $1 million grant for the research to smelt fish farts, improve the atmosphere. Yeah. And I tell you what, they're finding out now. Not necessarily that, but DOJ is finding out there are stuff similar to that we're spending tens of millions of dollars on.
That's insane.
But I went and found it, and I'll put it in the comment section when we do this. I found the Department of the Interior where he signed into office in February of 2020. He absolutely did sign into where they could. He said federal regulations, he was going to lift those to allow them to pull water from the north and store the water.
Right. Nah. And can't do that.
And so here's the funny thing. So, well, that's funny. All right, here we go. Now, watch this. So this is the Shasta Lake Delta Reservoir. All right. Now, you see it in 2019. All right. You see all that water and shit? This is in 2019. Now, when Gavin Newsom really started so remember Trump signed it in 2020 to say, yeah, we want to keep filling this up and this and the other. Gavin Newsom said no, wouldn't sign it. Now, here we are in July. These are satellite images. Here's July 2023.
Wow. You're talking, what, 3 years? 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
And look at all the yellow is all of, well, it's additional land and dry, that's dried up from the reservoir. So you can see the difference between, let me just lower just a little bit. So you can just see July of 19 to July of 2023.
Jeez.
So there was an issue with the water, even though they said there wasn't. There was. Now, a lot of what they said, going back to what Ed said, in our research, they said that because where these homes are located are on top of the hills. And they said that the water pressure can't push that much water to the top of those hills, even if the tanks were full, which they weren't. So my question is, well, did you fucking test the shit?
Right. Was it like a architectural or engineering thing where in theory, yes, it should work, but I guess we're just going to go with that.
But my thing is, okay, I understand like a wildfire is different than, something, so that's pretty intense and it's a lot. But you tell me you got one of these mansions, these big ass freaking mansions that go up. They're probably going to need more water pushed there than he would say for a normal home.
Right.
So again, you didn't test this shit out and say, oh, by the way, even if our tanks were full, which they weren't, we ain't got enough. We don't have a system that can push it. So you're just gonna burn.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, what the, that's, that's that would get somebody fired in a second. So it's like, I don't know. I'm I'm in shock because it's like, okay, even if we had the water, it still couldn't push it.
Right.
But we probably wouldn't have known because you didn't have the tanks were never full anyway because you didn't have enough water.
Right.
Because of the conservation bullshit that you just let it run right back into the damn ocean.
Right. Jesus. Yeah. It's insane. It is totally insane. But the other thing too is that you look at for instance, let's take Gavin Newsom. Here's a guy that's a Democrat. He's moderate, so
well, that's what he says.
Right. We'll go with that. We'll say that he's a moderate. He opposes Trump's claims that this is his fault, which we just kind of went over. Newsom, a Democrat, has previously opposed efforts to redirect more water to Southern California. This includes a 2020 presidential memorandum. And then again, Newsom opposed this at the time, saying he wanted to protect those highly sought out fish. Now,
and there are some news agency coming out saying that's not true. But we have it right here in document, and like I said, we'll put it. It's a freaking federal document that says Trump signed it in, and he didn't, and Newsom didn't sign it or didn't utilize it.
Right.
Go ahead.
So in the beginning, remember when I said that, Musk took SpaceX and left prior to everything had happened. So the biggest, I guess, the final straw that broke Musk's back is Newsom signed into law in 2024 forced outing for transgender people. So in other words, if you have a child, goes to school, you think everything's perfect, and the teachers see that there's tendencies of possibly wanting to be the opposite sex or whatever, that it is their responsibility to contact the parents to say, hey, we just want to let you know this is what we're seeing in school.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so Musk was like, you know what? Peace, we're out of here. And that's when they moved to Texas. Now, the other thing on that, too, is that Newsom was like, oh, this is a big regret. He's going to regret that he ever did that. But he was also clapping when he left. So you're talking all these tax dollars and everything else that was there for the taking. And now it's gone. Now, I did read that Tesla is still there. But I know that was a big push for the Biden presidency, that they wanted to go, electric vehicles and zero
2035.
Right. So I believe, if I remember correctly, that there was a tax return or a tax credit that you would get if you bought one of these electric cars. It was like $7,500 bucks. Well, also coming with the Trump campaign and everything else stepping in is that's going to go away. So,
I mean, it's a subsidy.
Right.
I mean, they talk about how they subsidize oil and stuff, and in certain aspects they do.
Right.
But they've subsidized like green energy to the point of like $800 billion. Especially that was just, and I think the $800 billion was just during the Obama administration.
Right. Yeah, and we did a podcast last year. It was one of our earlier podcasts on these electric vehicles. So if you want to get down to the nuts and bolts of it, definitely go back and check that out. There was a lot of stuff that I had no clue on, and how inefficient this whole electrical thing is actually going to be. We don't want to use fossil fuels or anything like that. But, yeah, and then going back to what you were saying about the conservationists with the whole windmill, generating and things like that, they went apeshit over there because of the birds and everything that were getting killed. But yet your point about, the whole forest and all this other stuff, none of the conservationists, as far as we know, had gone nuts over that.
I haven't heard about it either.
Yeah, so it's just very, very strange.
But it's fun. It's funny that even when we talk about, just real quick, we talk about the windmills and stuff. I mean, what do you think makes that shit?
Right.
Fossil fuels. You need them to make them. So it's like, okay, well, blah, 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 but then I need them to make it. So, whatever. It's just, it's hilarious that he, and I just want to comment real quick. Musk and his company wasn't the only one that left California. There has been a shitload of companies that have left California because they said they can't operate in that state.
Can you blame them?
I can't. And so not only do you lose the companies, then you lose all the high-level executives that work for those companies.
Right.
Who would...
They need a place to live.
Right. Who would be putting into your tax revenue.
Right.
Now, let's just say and there's a lot of celebrities that have moved out of California. Some have gone to Texas, some have gone to Tennessee, some have gone to Iowa.
Wow.
Which is weird. So now let's just say these celebrities said, you know what? I don't feel like rebuilding my home over here or this, that, and the other. And what happens if these celebrities leave and they go to Tennessee or wherever they go?
Right.
That's more and more tax revenue that California is losing.
Right. Right.
So where are you going to get? So then if you got all these programs where everybody's mooching off the government and stuff.
Right.
when nobody's paying in, where's the money coming from?
Right. Well, then the other kick in the teeth is this guy Newsom. He wants to run for president.
I wish he would.
Yeah.
Because they could blast the shit out of him.
Oh, what about him and Harris running on the same ticket?
Ooh, that would be cool. I'd love to see that.
Nice.
I don't know if anybody saw the Jimmy Carter funeral.
Yeah, that was.
Or the viewing.
Yeah.
That was okay, and just Jimmy Carter wasn't a good president. I'm just gonna say that, but
a human being, unbelievable.
Yeah, human being he was. What is it? What is it? He had that he was big in
peanut farming.
No, the charity
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity was huge into that. Wasn't a good president, but it was a great human being. And so they had a lot of people, even a lot of foreign dignitaries and like foreign people came to there. But there was this one piece where Trump and Melania are sitting there. They sit Obama right next to Trump.
Right.
Actually, it's Obama starts engaging Trump in conversation. And they're kind of having a good time laughing and stuff. Then they bring in Kamala Harris and her husband, whatever, babysitter screwer. They brought her in. Not one person
reached out a hand.
Reached out, even acknowledged her or whatever. Then they bring in Biden and Jill Biden in. They came and sit down, didn't acknowledge Kamala or her husband at all. Matter of fact, Jill even turned her seat or turned the way she was sitting to her back was to her. So let me tell you something. So the Democratic side of the House, man, is in shambles. And I think you're seeing what all of us already knew is that none of them could stand each other.
Right.
Biden or Trump or Obama didn't even address Biden at all. So I'm like, oh shit. These people they're not playing ball. They hate each other.
Right.
I'm telling you. And I thought it was kind of funny.
There was something else with Harris this week. I can't remember what it was. It may have been like somebody was awarded like some type of medal. I think that's what it was. And the person that was receiving the medal, it was him and his wife that were there. And, the husband who got the medal actually, she reached out and shook hands with him. And then she reached out to shake hands with the wife. And the wife just was like, her hands didn't move, like just left her hanging. And you see her, she's like, okay.
Biden gave it you talking about the Medal of Freedom?
Yes, that's it.
And I was going to talk about that, but, we talked about the wildfire, but, it's such bullshit, okay, this Medal of Freedom. I mean, the Medal of Freedom stands for something. I get it. But you talking about giving one to George Soros.
Right.
Who's a piece of shit. He's caused a lot of stuff by him financing half this shit. They gave one to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that was another good one. Like her of all people.
What the F? Seriously? For what what the fuck has she done except destroyed everything, destroyed emails, destroyed this, destroyed that?
She cleaned, wiped them off.
Yeah. Benghazi was a freaking, we lost 4 of those. And so why she got it? George Soros got it. There was LGBTQ plus activists that got it. I'm like, are you out of your effing mind? Now they had one that got was Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
Now he got one because of his and apparently he's greatly involved in Parkinson's and research and so forth and so on. Now, whether or not you needed a Medal of Freedom, I'd probably disagree with that. But out of all the people that we're going to give one to, I could see him. But Hillary Clinton, George Soros, some of these other jackasses,
well,
I don't get it.
I look at the timing of it, and kind of the other thing, and this is just my train of thought, is it's almost like a fuck you to Trump.
It was.
I'm going to get these in here while I can. I know you're pissed off at this person, and here you go. This one's my last hurrah. Which there may be more. We don't know yet, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Some other topic I wanted to jump on, which we didn't, and I want to do a little more research, was the 1,000 people that he gave
Oh yes,
pardons to.
Yes,
And there were some real winners. I mean, some child rapists and killers. He gave a part. I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind?
Yeah, and these were all people that I think it was during COVID, because of the overpopulation, that they were sending some of these people home on monitored leg brace, leg things, and so on and so forth. And then they were supposedly all fine and dandy. So that's who they all went to. And of course the media is like, well, it's on minor charges with drugs and marijuana and things like that. But a little dime bag, yeah, I could see you popping a misdemeanor. But if you're in prison for marijuana, you had a hell of a lot more than a little dime bag that was going on there.
And besides, when Trump was in his first term, he did prison reform.
Right.
Which says, like, they had somebody that had a dime bag and got 20 years, but because they had the third strike. He's like, okay, yeah, we need to prevent this kind of stuff, but to give somebody 20 years for a dime bag of weed?
Right.
Really? Because you had that one black grandmother that got with it for medicinal purposes, but anyway, she got 20 years. And so he changed it and whatever. So you could change and reform the prison sentences without giving somebody a mother effing pardon.
Right.
Which a pardon says, oh, you're clear.
Right. I don't get it.
Holy shit.
I don't get it.
Well, it's kind of I guess, what's the big deal anyway? Because especially in some of these sanctuary cities and some of these blue ran cities, the DAs don't even charge them half the time,
or even let ICE know.
Yep. Ask New York, where they had no cash bail. We did a previous thing on another show. Back to Bedlam, we did one. Dude was arrested 5 times in the same day, and one was a sexual assault, and still got out.
Wow, on the same day.
Same day.
Holy shit. Wow. Wow.
So I'm like, I don't know where these people are. These people are smoking crack.
Yeah. Well, I think now, with the whole Biden thing, and even back to Obama, I think it was more of, let's make the people happy. Let's kind of loosen things up a little bit. And look what happened. You're making the wrong people happy.
Yeah, the people that aren't law-abiding citizens, people that aren't really putting in, or paying taxes,
right,
and whatnot. You're it's the illegals, the criminals, everything. Hey, like I said, I can't wait for Trump to get in office, and when Tom Homan gets in there and starts deporting some of these jackasses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to this administration. Yeah. He's already saying all this stuff that he's going to do and stuff. And and here's the weird thing. There's so many people that were never Trumpers that had just blasted him, and Democrats and liberals and stuff. And there's quite a few of these people jumping on his side, especially some of his policies and stuff that he's talking about implementing. And it's like all of a sudden they're like, because they saw how bad shit can be when you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Right. And it's a shame, on his presidency, the first go around, that everybody fought him on every single angle. And if everybody could have seen what he wanted to do, how do you think we'd look now? I mean, more than likely he would be going in for his second term. But we wouldn't have had all this other extracurricular stuff going on because it,
Yep.
we have to get back to America first. And I'm not saying that, being a proud boy or whatever, that's not the case. I mean, for years and years and years, we've given and given and given and given, and we're not getting anything back from the other countries that we're helping to support and we're supplying with things. So, it's about time that somebody steps in and says, okay, let's pull back the curtain and let's really see what's going on. We're going to make it public so you guys can see what has gone on, and then we'll go from there. So I am looking forward to this presidency to see what happens, and I'm also curious to see how much stuff is going to get blocked.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of this, I mean, he could do some executive orders, but some of the other stuff he's got to obviously get through Congress. And it was funny because Biden did another FU, and when he approved the $500 billion, another $500 billion to Ukraine. How about you go negotiate with Russia to say, how about we just stop the war,
right,
and cut the bullshit, which is what Trump's trying to do. Trump's like, we don't need to send any more money to Ukraine because guess what? It's not being used correctly.
Right.
You can go Google that all you want, and you can see that all of it's not going to the war effort,
right,
quote unquote.
Yeah, you had mentioned something about that.
Yeah.
On the last show.
So Trump's like, okay, how about we go in there and negotiate? But see, Biden can't do that because Trump can go and negotiate because Trump would go in there and negotiate from a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
Biden can't negotiate shit.
What?
Biden can't even know where the fuck he is.
He can't even speak in a clear sentence.
So it's like nobody's taking you seriously. And everybody knows that, again, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Biden wasn't running the White House. He wasn't running the presidency. It was still Obama's people that were running it. And Biden was just like, okay, whatever. And you can see, because you think if people would, hand in hand and we're going to fight this, this together, you would think they'd still be, even though they lost, you still think they'd be united and stuff. They ain't even giving each other the time of day.
Well, I mean, if you think back, it makes me wonder when the downfall started is the whole thing with the pullout from Afghanistan. Trump wanted to do it in certain waves, and, Biden comes in and was like, yeah, we're just going to do it, even though everyone was telling him this is a really bad idea, don't do it, and he did it anyway. So I'm wondering if maybe that kind of kick-started this whole thing where the cabinet and all the advisors and everything kind of kept taking a little bit and a little bit more.
Could be. And like I said, even with Trump's withdrawal, guess what was coming with the soldiers? Equipment. But dumbass
now the Taliban
left it there,
Yep.
didn't dismantle it, didn't blow it, didn't do it. He said everybody just jump off, go over, or come on over, and we're done. And now we had billions of dollars worth of significant military equipment now the Taliban has.
Right. And it's funny because then they want to talk about the debt, the trillions of dollars of debt that we're in. Well, hey, guess who paid for that? We're going to get our own weapons used against us. Thank you, bud.
What a idiot. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But anyway, so LA wildfires, Google it, check it out. Make sure you do your research on it. There's a lot of stuff. Like there was one where they in one of the east side or east counties, because if they had a satellite image where you saw the one in LA, and there was another one set like way east in California, and they're like, that's kind of strange.
Right.
Well, you saw, and I can't remember who's that. Colorado. Who's right on the other side of them? I'm bad at geography.
That makes two of us.
Anyway, well, they showed this guy riding down with a four-wheeler setting fires.
Oh my!
Right. Well, what it was is it was this other state fire.
Probably
they were setting the fires to burn off so it wouldn't spread.
Gotcha.
And then some jackass said, "Oh, look, there's somebody out there setting the fires in L.A." No, that's not what that was.
Gotta
Although
love
we
the
did
media.
find out that there are people that were setting them.
Right.
That was not what that was actually another state trying to prevent it from coming over because there was another one in the east of
Right.
east of the state of California, which was weird.
Yeah, it's funny, now that you mention this, because the Santa Ana winds go, so like if this is the edge of California here, they kind of come down and go out and they spread this way. So if the fire started up here in California and the winds go this way, how are they getting all over the place? And I think the other thing that was funny too is I was watching the news this morning, and if you look at the edge of California, there's this much open space, and the sea is out this way. There's like this much open space, and LA is kind of right there. So all these fires are somehow going around. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory, but it's funny when you mention that. It's kind of like, well, how the hell come that place didn't? Because it burned like all around it, but that little cup area there, it never touched. How does that happen?
And there's hills that surround it, and it's got brush and
Oh, absolutely.
some scrabby trees. You think I'd go up like a tinderbox,
Right.
and just spread all and down in.
Absolutely. Very strange.
Again.
Oh, maybe their water pressure's better there.
Oh, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, just one more thing is I saw in my notes that when these fires started, LA's what's her name?
The mayor.
The mayor. Where'd she go? Where was it? I thought I had it. What was
Yeah,
her
you
name?
had it on there. Bass. Karen Bass.
Karen Bass. She decided she's gonna take a little trip to Ghana. While her city's burning, or around her city, I guess a county, is burning to shit. And then when she got back, then they had, and I think it was CNN, they had a reporter asking her, like, where'd you go and why you this and the other. She did not even acknowledge the reporter. And there's one more thing I wanted to point out. I didn't get a picture of it. But one of the spokespeople for LA, for about the fires, and you could bring it up. I've double checked it and triple checked it, and it's correct. So the woman, the spokeswoman, comes up and starts talking about it, and then you focus on her neck, and she's wearing an upside down cross.
Oh, shit.
Upside down cross. Now, you could take whatever you want from that, but I thought it was like, you're on front, and I double checked, and I went through multiple videos of it to make sure somebody wasn't whatever.
Sure.
No, it's as plain as day. As plain as known. She's wearing an upside down cross.
Wow.
Now again, you could take whatever you want from it. I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
That's a little freaky.
Yeah.
How about that fire chief?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the LGBTQ whatever, who hired a bunch of other LGBTQ whatever.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the rumor was somebody up top said that she was fired. And she had a press conference with the mayor, and they squashed that right then and there. But somebody's going to need to be a scapegoat somewhere. And it definitely ain't going to be the mayor, and it definitely ain't going to be Newsom. So, yeah, start working on your resume because it's happening.
Well, that's good. See, that's going to be interesting because, well, then you can have everybody say, "Oh, she's LGBT. You can't fire her."
Right.
Why would you? And now they're going to get rid. And they end up getting rid of her.
Right.
Boy, that's going to create a big swirl of shit.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So.
Yep. It's amazing. I'm telling you, it's amazing how. And again, I know that this has gone on for years and all the other good stuff, but I just find it amazing how with the whole Biden and Harris is that if you notice, like, it's more finger pointing now. Like, no one, even people like us, do not want to take the responsibility for their actions. Like stupid stuff. Oh, well, it's climate change that, made me burn papers in the back of my yard, that type of shit. And it's like no one wants to take the responsibility, and it's everybody else's fault that I did something stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to see how things change with Trump. Hopefully it's going to go in the right direction, which, it sounds like it is, but we'll see what happens. But I'm curious to see what all boils down from this. So, yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it's got to get to the point where, something's going to come to a head. People, like I said, because California taxes the living shit out of its people, but yet they still don't have money for stuff because they give it away in all these programs.
Right.
And it's like, okay, but at the end of the day, you get all the taxpayers going to be like, you know what? Not only are you taxing me to death, but then there's nothing of value,
right,
that you're doing with my taxes. So, so then, I'm out.
Right.
I'm going to go to a different state or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of celebrities that were leaving based on their children, because they're saying the policies and the things that they're wanting to implement, for LGBTQ, for this, for that. There's like, I mean, like a 6-year-old doesn't need to go through all stages of different genders and this, that, and the other. There's only 2, but apparently, in California, I guess there's like 50.
Right, 51.
Right. So, but it's like, they're like, can we just teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic, and not all this other bullshit?
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's a shame. And if you think back to it, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, believe it or not, when he was running California, that kind of helped to put them on the map. I mean, obviously everybody know the opulence and everything of California, but if you remember, there were commercials with him that come to California,
And the fact he couldn't pronounce it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that was the build up on California, and then you got this guy that comes in and just like completely shits on it.
What's funny is like California should kind of talk for itself, right?
Right.
It's got beautiful weather, this, that, and the other. But, well, it's like so just real quick. So I'm moving on. My contract got sold, so I'm moving on to moving on to another position. Anyway, one of the recruiters of a company that I'm talking to, she's out in California. Her husband works for the Navy, just retired. He's getting a job over in Pentagon.
Oh, wow.
So they're coming over. But anyway, she is a recruiter, and they live in just outside of San Diego.
Okay.
And she's like, and we were talking, we got just talking about just some personal stuff, not too personal, but whatever. She's like, yeah. She goes, you know what? She goes, we're moving into Virginia, and she's like, we can buy a mansion with what we're selling our San Diego home for.
Oh my God.
And I said, really? I was like, yeah. She said, so how big's your house in San Diego? She goes, it's like 1,100 square feet.
Oh my.
She goes, we're probably going to be selling it for like 1 point some million. I was like, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, they've flown over here, I think twice, kind of checked out some stuff in Virginia.
Sure.
But she's like,
that's insane.
She goes, it's ridiculous. She goes, I love it over here, but it is too expensive to live. She goes, yeah. She goes, I can't wait to get out because she goes, we're paying $7-8 for a gallon of milk. Like I said, the little 1,100 square feet house, foot house she's got, is like it's over $1 million.
Wow.
We have this mighty military space force, but we can't.
That's great.
Put out a campfire. Thinking this.
That's funny.
It is funny. Did you see the video where they had the firefighters because they were using bags to try to get water to put it because they didn't have any equipment. Even their pumper trucks were dry.
I saw a bunch of videos where homeowners were out there with, their little water hoses that didn't really do much, but yeah,
They were trying to do something.
yeah, beats.
But the firefighters couldn't do any. They couldn't do any better. They had no water in the hydrants. Their pumper trucks were dry. After, I forget. It was just like,
Wow. Don't worry about the prep; it'll never happen.
yeah. And the fact that our fire suppression system, hydrants or whatever, to pump the water, that doesn't really pump it. Doesn't really work. But fuck it.
Yeah, in theory.
I mean, really, we're in California. How often is a fire going to break out?
Right. Yeah.
like 50 times a summer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, but I will just say this one more thing, and I'm done. So the funny thing is, it wasn't until this LA fires happened and we did our research to where I found out or really identified where the prep for preventing fires wasn't there, or they stopped doing it. The water and everything wasn't there, and it wasn't because of climate change, either. So it's funny is that they'll all jump on the climate change bandwagon, and if you look at these wildfires that are going on, none of it is contributed by that.
Right.
And it's just like, and now it just, and I didn't necessarily think it was. I said, well, maybe there's a little lack of rain, so it might be a little dry or whatever. But it wasn't until you actually do the research and you dig in and you find out a lot, most of this is because of incompetence. They're not doing the brush, they're not clearing out the brush, whatever, or even doing some controlled burns to get some of this other stuff out of the way.
Right.
To protect to do a fire break. The water, the lack of water, and then even the lack of facilities to even pump the water. It's insane. It's almost like, what do they call it, that perfect storm?
Yes.
It's like this doesn't work, that doesn't work. They're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not doing this, and all of a sudden, boom. And they've already rolled out like lightning strikes or anything else as far as causes of this thing.
Right.
Because there wasn't even a storm.
No, and it's funny because it wasn't till like a day or two ago is when they started mentioning the ATF and the FBI kind of getting involved on this one for the a fire bug, which is a shame.
Does ATF handle fires and shit like that?
I don't know.
They ought to get rid of the firearm shit because the ATF just fucks that up. But that's all I had.
All right. That's all I got. So, again, check out our new podcast. We'll let you know when we're going to put that out there. You want to put the little thingy up there?
Yeah, let's put the thingy up.
The thingy. There we go.
That's big. She's big. That's what she said. There we go. And actually, I have a new new graphic for this where we're bald.
The funny part was, if you do a quick glance, it almost looks like a toilet that they're looking into.
Almost, shit.
Oh, wait, that's us.
Yeah. Look at the toilet. Yeah. So, like I said, make sure you check this podcast out. We're going to decide when we're going to release it, whether that's Thursday or whatever. I guess it's going to be a day during the week because, like they said the weekend it just
right.
But I guess it depends whether that's going to be this Thursday or next Thursday.
I don't know.
Probably this Thursday.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Because it's closer. Because that would be close. That would be farther from this episode than next Thursday would be from the following episode or following one.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
All right.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing the cave painting. Yeah, we got the cave. Yeah, we got the cave painting in for the what you call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you to all the people that put their lives out on the line for us, firefighters, police, everybody. We really appreciate what you do. And again, thank you for keeping us safe. And God forbid, when something does happen, you got our backs. Thank you very much.
Yes. And especially, them over there in LA because
absolutely.
Because I even remember they even had a lot of volunteers were going over and they were blocking half of them.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, our hearts go out to them.
Yep.
All right.
And even though they're celebrities and whatever.
It doesn't matter. You
to,
gotta take
to lose
that out.
all your shit, to lose everything that you own, that you've worked for, and it be gone, whether you're a celebrity or not.
Yeah,
that's tough. That's to
Doesn't
have
matter.
everything gone.
Doesn't matter how much money you have.
All right.
Armed Forces, thank you very much. I hope you had a safe and happy New Year to you. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We will. Look for our Discord to when our first episode of Life Lessons with Two Neanderthals goes out. Probably will be this Thursday, but just double check on our Discord. All right?
All right, people.
Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Out.